Now, 7 in 10 young Irish people are planning to emigrate because of the cost of living crisis.
Joining us now to discuss the findings of new research is Director of Policy and Advocacy at the National Youth Council of Ireland, Paul Gordon, and UCD student Aisling Maloney. Thank you both so much for being with us this morning. Aisling, I know you just started back in college on Monday, so fair play to you for being here on the first week. Paul, this is research that you've carried out. Have you seen a drastic difference over the past couple of years of people just feeling they can't afford to live in Ireland?
Yeah, so what we're seeing is 3 in 4 young people saying they think they'd have a better quality of life elsewhere. And what's quite startling from the results is that 7 in 10 are actually considering emigrating to get just that. And that's different from the past. In 2012, we had a similar survey that showed half of young people actually were considering emigrating. So to see that increase from a time when we were actually in recession then is very worrying. And I suppose what we're hearing is that young people are quite fearful for the future. And we really want to see measures taken to address that, to keep them here.
And is it the cost of living crisis at the moment that's really the core of it?
It's probably a combination of things. So the cost of living is affecting young people. It's affecting them in a different way to the rest of the population. So they spend a higher proportion of their income on things like public transport, on education charges, and they're spending more than the rest of the population on housing. So that is really, it's probably a combination of a few of those things. They're seeing high housing costs, very little available accommodation. And what they're hearing from friends abroad is that while there's a cost of living crisis everywhere, many young people are actually finding it easier in other countries with better public transport systems, cheaper public transport, cheaper education, and it's much easier to find accommodation, even if it may be a little as expensive as here. It's easier to find that place to live.
Well, Aisling, you are one of these people who's currently in college, who we hope will be taking over the country in the future and that you'll stay here. What are the issues that are facing you day to day? Because you're from Tipperary and you go to UCD. So I'm assuming that the costs for you are very high.
Yeah, like I'm facing high costs. I suppose the biggest cost I'm facing at the moment would be accommodation. So even though I'm in like the cheapest accommodation on campus, it's still upwards of $800 a month. So like that paired with public transport costs, like groceries every week, and then any other like things that come up in the meantime, like textbooks, because the course I'm doing, like the textbooks would be very expensive for the course. So all of that paired together, like it's just a constant worry for people like in my course and like just in general in university. Like there's a high cost all around.
And are your friends or your friend group and what you're hearing in college, is it the same for everyone?
Yeah. Obviously, some people are commuting and then some people are living in digs and then like campus accommodation. So the costs kind of differ for everyone. But at the end of the day, people are either facing very long commute times or they're paying like extortionate rent prices. And
you were saying one of your friends or someone you know is commuting how long a day?
One of my friends, she lives in Blanchardstown, so she's commuting about 2 hours on the bus every day. And that takes up a huge time of her commute because like we have 9 a.m. lectures. So she would have to get up at like maybe 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning just to be on time for the lectures. And that's like if there's no public transport delays. So like she always risks missing her lectures because of public transport.
So she's living in one area of Dublin, because we're used to hearing now that people are having to travel from places like Athlone to Galway because that's the only place they can get the accommodation. So she's living in Dublin. It's taking her 2 hours to get to college on public transport, which is already costing a good bit. And you had a friend last year who was paying €11,000, not for an entire year, by the way. This is just for the 2 terms, for a room. €11,000. Like, Paul, no, how do we even have students in the country? It's cheaper to go other places.
Well, what we're hearing is that they're very fearful for the future. They see that it is cheaper to live and they may have a better quality of life elsewhere. They're also being hit with a second impact of the cost of living, and that's mental health issues. So 1 in 2 actually said their mental health has gotten worse in the past 6 months. More than 2 in 5 are less happy than they were before. And 8 in 10 are saying that they're fearful for the future. So that's of real concern to us, that's happening currently. And we really want to see action taken to support those young people, to show them that they do actually have a future in Ireland. Because emigration for many, when it's a choice, can be an enriching experience. But what people are saying to us is that it's not really a choice. Many are feeling that they're going to be forced out.
And what do you want the government to do? We have a budget coming up. What do you want to see?
Yeah, so this year we'd like to see investment in young people. I think there's a small window of opportunity for government to show young people that they're listening, that they're heeding their call and that they will support them. So we want to see measures taken to help them with the costs that they're seeing specifically. So things like education, a reduction in college fees, a reduction in apprenticeship fees for young workers. Currently, those under 20 actually earn less than the minimum wage. Many of them do, as low as $7.35 a week. We want to see that raised in line with the rest of the population. Young people seeking work. They receive €90 less a week in job seekers allowance. We want to see that raised in line with those who are over 25. And we also want to see more investment in public transport to help young people with those costs as well, along with investment in youth work, which delivers a great help to young people right across the country.
I suppose they have tried to do something in relation to public transport. We'd love to hear from you at home whether, you know, you're in this cohort and it's like, there's no way I can afford to live here, or if you've got children who are going to be leaving, because we know a huge amount of the medical profession are emigrating all the time. 0896 111 111, because the argument could be made, Aisling, that of course young people are always going to go. They're going to go away for their year. They're going to, once they're finished college, they're gone. They're going to have a great time. They're going to go to Bali. They're going to go to Australia. For you, do you think that you have a future whereby you would be able to afford to buy a house, have a family, and live in Ireland on wages that wouldn't be exponential? Or does it feel like, well, sure, no one can buy a house in this country. Why would I bother staying here?
At the moment, no. Like, straight up, no. I just don't think it's, like, possible to live here. Like, I have friends on Erasmus at the moment, and even them telling me stories from abroad, like, they're telling me how cheaper it is abroad right now than it is to live in Ireland. And at the end of the day, when I graduate, I want to live in Ireland. This is where I grew up. This is where I was born and raised. Like, this is the country where I want to live for the rest of my life. But at the end of the day, if I can't afford to live here, and if I don't have a certain standard of living here, then I don't really have much of a choice to end up going abroad then, because at the end of the day, if I can't have a comfortable life here, what's the point in staying?
And it's so sad, isn't it? And I mean, is it affecting college life? Because when you go to college, those days are just brilliant. Is it affecting like college life? Are you seeing that? Are you hearing that? And are you seeing that in person?
Like, can you have a bit of crack?
Can you have a bit of fun? Can you have a bit of, like, is it taking away from the days you should be having in college?
Like, college students, like, we can still have our fun and stuff, but there is always that constant worry at the back of our minds. Like, we'll still go out and we'll meet our friends and stuff, but at the end of the day, when we come home in the evenings, we're worrying about these things. Like, I even know last semester I was impacted, like, my academics were impacted last semester, just because of all the stress that I was under. I had to get what is called an extenuating circumstance. So I had to basically prove to them that I was under so much stress with everything going on outside of college that I couldn't complete one of my assignments in time. And luckily enough that I was granted that extenuating circumstance. Otherwise, it would have affected my grade. But just because of all the stress that I was under, they understood that obviously I wasn't at the best of my ability. So I was granted that extenuating circumstance then.
And are you seeing there are other people like that as well?
Yeah, one of my friends, like, she had to get one of those for like nearly all of her modules. And I'm sure there's other people, like, there's plenty of people in the same situation. Some people probably didn't even like qualify for that and had to actually like get the grade deductions or penalties.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a widespread issue across campus.
And Paul, like you're saying, you listed out a number of things that you're saying the government. What do you think realistically they can do in the budget for you?
Well, what we're saying is we're not asking for the world in this budget. We're asking for €1 in every €39 to be spent on young people aged 18 to 24. To show that they're welcome here, to show that they can be supported through the coming months. And after that, we need to come up with a strategy to actually help young people with the huge challenges they're facing around housing. Many are on low wages, temporary contracts. And like Aisling has said, I think some don't see a future. They don't think they'll ever be able to afford a property here. And that home ownership is really obviously an ambition for many. And the stats are showing people that they won't be able to do that.
What about the argument for people who, grew up in the 80s and there wasn't free college, or I know it's not free college now, just kind of going, they just need to buck up. Everyone's gotten a bit too soft. We've got net immigration into the country, people who are doing jobs that Irish young people won't do, Brazilians living 8 to a room, like that. They just need to harden up. What do you say to stuff like that?
Well, the fact is, young people now are actually, anyone born in the 90s, they're actually earning less than people born in the 70s and 80s. They're the first generation who will be earning less by the time they're 26 than people that went before. So that doesn't really stack up. I understand those arguments, but I think young people now, they're actually facing regression, the first generation in a very long time. So we do need to support them. First
generation to be less well off than the generation before them, and that is in centuries, centuries and centuries. That's something we have to remember. Paul Gordon, who's Director of Policy and Advocacy at the National Youth Council of Ireland, and Aisling Maloney, who is a student in UCD, just back. And we know that you're doing some interesting things. Maybe one day, and politically, you will change things for us. Aisling, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks both
Thank
of
you both very much.